So, good morning. We have been on Teams and Zoom calls way too much lately. And we have all seen these problems coming up, mostly with other people, not only with ourselves. And the next 8 minutes or 9 minutes, I will talk you through how to find the mute button, how to connect your headphone to a headset to the computer and so on. No, just kidding. It's mainly layer 8, of course, but it can also be network centric when we experience bad experience on video calling. And yeah, let's go about some networking issues, not the layer 8 issues, right? So I've been on Google yesterday evening, and there are some quite good documentations about Zoom, for example, on their support page, which line out what you need from a bandwidth perspective, for example, for some kind of different video call types, like one-to-one calls, group calls, which resolution you are using for video streams, maybe for additional features you're using, like gallery view with that amount of people or that amount of people. Screen sharing will add some bandwidth to that, and there are some other stuff, type of things which are outlined here. And it's all well documented on the Zoom page. So when we are in these environments we are today, or have been with COVID, it's a difference if you are in a single user environment, home office type of scenario, with 2-3 people or a few kids running homeschooling, or if you are on an enterprise network where not only one call is happening or 2 calls, but a zillion calls happening at the same time, different calls, and then of course these numbers add up somehow, right? Running over the same internet pipe towards Zoom or the internet. There are some other things, and as it's also copied just from the Zoom web page, latency, jitter, packet loss, we know these numbers, and they are quite familiar, right? So when you design for real-time applications, voice over IP, exactly the same numbers, which you should have in mind when designing these. And of course, because it's about video in Zoom mainly, frames per second from a video perspective is also very interesting. The 30 frames per second comes from the fact that Zoom is able to support up to 30 frames per second. So you want to get close to that to get the optimal experience, but I guess it will be fine if you reach 15 to 20 frames per second, and then the video will still be fluid somehow, right? Okay, so what happens when something goes wrong? It's not the mute button, it's just the call was bad. It's flickering here and there, the audio is bad. I dropped the call somehow. Why did it happen? And let's set the stage here a little bit, because I'm a little bit biased. So we are talking about a ruckus network where I can show you how you can use some tools to get some help regarding these problems. So, and Stephen, you have done a great job introducing all these things, so I don't want to talk through everything which is done via ML and AI and all this stuff with fancy tools, but of course they are needed, and they're very helpful in these situations. So let's assume something on site, an AP, controllers, cloud management systems, stream everything they know about clients, about their connection, about their behavior, every single metric you can imagine of, into some kind of service. Mainly in the cloud, because they are where the capacity is. And then this data gets number crunched, saved, analyzed, and you can get something out of it at the very end. So if I would have a bad experience as an end user and I have no idea and I call support, this could happen, right? So Zoom doesn't work, now what? Yeah, and then we have some back and forth, and typically the support engineer can just invite me to a test call. Maybe he have some statistics about the calls I've made in the past, but I want to troubleshoot now. I want to be active and do a real test. What's happening now on the network? So he sends me a link. I can join, and we have a chat. Hopefully the chat is good enough that we can hear each other. that would be fine. It was a little bit boring to stay a few minutes on the call with no context, but that's fine enough to get some statistic out of it. And what happens after that, we can just go into the metrics. Oh, but first I can show you how this will be set up from the system, right? So the system can create a test call, share the link, you distribute it somehow, invite people, and then you're going on to the call. And after that, or even without this test call, you get some client statistics. That means from last week, last month, last quarter, or now, or yesterday, things like roaming, connection events, connection quality metrics. And we are just hitting one point in time here right now, and I've highlighted the connection quality settings, and we see, oh, okay, the SNR is 9 dB, MCS rate is something about 6 megabits, or the average MCS is about 6 megabits. So it's a bad network connection, right? And that's the reason why some kinds of boxes are red here, and you can easily drill down and see, yeah, it's a problem with the network, or with the Wi-Fi connection at least. But maybe that's not enough for troubleshooting every Zoom call, because maybe the connection is very good. And then you can't find out what's happening. But it would be a very good idea to have some insights into the metrics Zoom is providing yourself, because there are some quite cool things Zoom can do, and you can provide, or you can get all the statistics out of Zoom as well for the requirements we have seen before. So this tool also puts into the APIs of Zoom, and then you can see for the same session, this is related to the Zoom test call we've just did, all the things we did before. So jitter, latency, packet loss. For this specific call, and things are aligned, right? 7 dB of SNR, 207 milliseconds of latency, a frame rate of 14 frames per second. That's a bad call, and that's the reason why all the boxes are red. And in general overview, this will be highlighted also as a bad call. And yeah, we just identified a Wi-Fi problem. It not happens often, but sometimes it will. Thank you.